Show. It's the Baaaaahbra Show. Coming your way with a smile today. Down the humorous path with a lark and a laugh. It's the Baaaaahbra Show. The Baaaaahbra, the Baaaaahbra, the Baaaaahbra Show. Welcome to Humorous Adventures with Barbara.
Well, welcome again to the Humorous Adventures with Barbara. Today's show is going to be about computer jobs. I worked for a reseller of a manufacturer of software for a few years, and the manufacturer employees got to know me, and they told me of a job opening, and I really wanted to work for the actual manufacturer because that would be, I'd be on the cutting edge to work with the engineers and learn the technology sooner than later. And I loved being like a sponge. I get taught the new technology, and that's how I would sell it once I learned the new stuff. So I still had to go to a formal interview, though, to get the job. And it just so happened that they were going to be at the largest computer show, Comdex, that happens every year in Las Vegas. At least it used to be. I don't think that show exists, but I did that show 13 years in a row. And these days, you can go to a trade show and just be kind of casual, but at this particular time, it was the suit and the high heels, and it was very formal. So even though my current employers knew that I was going to apply for the job because I wanted to be very transparent, they fooled around and they said, "Oh, you turncoat, you traitor," but they were only kidding around. They wished me well. And so I took a couple of days off to fly to Vegas to meet the guy who would be interviewing me formally. Even though I really knew I had the job, I needed to go for the interview. The day I go to the booth for the interview and I walk in was the actual day that both my current employers, two guys, came to the booth at the same time. And I don't know, I just felt funny that here I am applying for a job and they happen to be there. So I take a brochure and I put the brochure in front of my face like I'm hiding, but they saw me and they kind of needled me again. But I went on the interview and everything was fine, and we decided that I would go to dinner with my current employers and my future employers, and then after that, maybe go gambling. So I went back to the hotel to change, and well, let's just say this. Comdex was such a popular show that basically companies booked these rooms a year in advance. So the company did the best they could to book me, but let's just say this wasn't the best hotel in Vegas. Interior design, not. Cigarette burns in the carpet, yes. However, how long do you stay in a room anyway in Las Vegas? So I even decided to just stay an extra day with friends, because when you're in Vegas, why not? I'm already there. So, you know, I booked an extra day in this marvelous hotel. Now, I'm going to give you a tip, and here's the tip. When I travel, I always traveled with a computer bag and a garment bag, and that's it. My rule was, if I couldn't carry it, I don't want it, because I couldn't take the chance of my bag getting lost. I think these days, bags really don't get lost that much because of security. You know, they're really on top of where these bags are. But in those days, a bag could get lost or stolen and you'd never find it. That's why I always wanted to make sure I had all my stuff with me. I just couldn't take that chance. But not only that, the reason for the garment bag is I could take my suits with my own hangers and put each suit and blouse in its own plastic bag. Therefore, when you do that, and it's in your own plastic bag, when you hang them up in your closet, there are no wrinkles. Remember that. That's a tip from me. So I go to the room, And I'm hanging all my garments up with their bags. I change, and now I meet my current employers and my future employers for dinner. Great time. Now we go gambling. I've played blackjack before, Texas Hold'em, pretty good at that, pretty good at the slots. But they wanted to play craps. I have no idea how to play. I've tried to figure it out. I still don't know. But hey, they wanted to play craps. I'll play craps. I did whatever they did. If they said 10 on 5, I put 10 on 5. If they said put 5 on 20, I put 5 on 20. I had no idea what I was doing, but guess what? I'm winning a lot of money, so it was pretty good. I kind of like that. The next day, we decide we're going to dress up and go to Caesar's Palace. So I brought this really shiny sequin dress that I would stand out at. And I think, well, basically at this hotel, the wardrobe everybody else was wearing was kind of cut-off jeans, kind of junky. And they see me walk out. Clearly, I'm walking out with friends, and we're going to party up. And, you know, when you're in Vegas, you don't really know what time it is or anything. So we had a great time, and maybe it was a little later, you know, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. I have no idea. We had a great time, and I come back to the room, and you know, I thought I could sleep in easily till about 11 o'clock because I needed to check out, late checkout by 1 o'clock. So at about 11 o'clock, I'm in bed, and the closet door happened to be open, and I'm looking at my closet. And I see my hangers in the plastic bags, but the clothes aren't there. I thought, I don't know if I'm seeing this right. So I look a little closely. No, that's right. There's hangers, no clothes, except some of my junky clothes. I couldn't believe this. I don't know. And then even though my brother, my closest brother in age, is 6 years older than me, he's a diver, and I love to buy him toys. I got this real expensive diver toy that could swim, submerge in water. They didn't steal that one. But clearly, somebody came in my room while I was out. So what I think happened is, as they saw me walk out with my little sparkly dress, they knew I wasn't going to be back anytime soon. And it had to be an inside job because none of the hangers were thrown all over the room. I mean, they had all the time in the world to try on the different clothes that I had and maybe not take my junky clothes. And, you know, they left the hangers in the plastic bags there. So I call security, and who do I get? This guy, I don't know. He was clearly over 90 years old. I don't even know how he got up, So he gets in my room, and I explain to him the situation. And after explaining this whole thing to him, he just looks at me deadpan and said, I don't know, I can't do anything. I mean, what did I even tell him the story for? He goes, you have to talk to the manager. Okay, so I pack up what I had left, and I go downstairs to speak with the manager, and I tell the manager the whole story. And he says to me, well, how do I even know you had this clothing? I said, okay, shame on me if I'm, in a hotel room and I leave jewelry or money on the counter. Okay. I mean, that's just putting it out there for somebody to steal. But do you really expect me to take clothes of my wardrobe and give it to the front desk before I check in? Or would you like me to take all my clothes, my suits, and try to shove it into the safe deposit box? I mean, the room has to be good to hang your clothes in, right? I mean, well, the manager said, I don't know. I'll see what I can do. I knew he wasn't going to do anything. So I got in the taxi cab and going to the airport, and I tell the taxi cab driver my story. And he got very irritated, and he said, we depend on tourism. You should go to the police. I said, well, I don't have time to go to the police. I have to fly back home. He said, there is a police station in the airport, and you should go there. So pretty good idea. I go there and I get in front of Sergeant Mayberry. And Sergeant Mayberry was very agitated as well. He didn't like this. So while I'm sitting there, he's calling the hotel and he's saying, what people were on that shift? And I want to know what's been going on. And I could see he's just getting redder and redder in his face because, no one was giving him any answer. So as I'm on the plane, and again, what could I do? My company said, try your best with these people to get reimbursement because the hotel should be good for it. But, I later branded that hotel and I called it El Rancho. But on the plane, as I was thinking about the whole trip, because really the whole trip was great. I mean, I got the job that I dreamed of. I had a great time. I maybe lost some of my clothes, and I can literally say I lost the shirt off my back in Vegas. And speaking of trade shows, so once I started working for this company, what we'd like to do is we would have a show every hour showing off new features in our new software. So, we wanted to have a gimmick. So this year, I was the actress, and people really thought I was like hired actress. Really, no, I worked for the company, but I like doing that stuff. And they hired a magician, a Las Vegas magician, and we named him the Great Pagicini. And the joke was, because he's a real musician, the joke was that I would complete 5 tasks in my software before the Great Pagicini could literally get out of his straitjacket and locks. Because every show, his wife would, put him in a straitjacket and cuff him up and then put this thick rope all around him. And I would, of course, win every show, and I would get applause. But, we did this show every hour, and then we would have a break. Well, one break, his wife was sitting there, and I was sitting beside her, and she said to me, I have, by tying my husband up every hour, the rope is really cutting into my hands. Look. And I looked at her with a deadpan face, and I said, I can relate because when I wrap up my boyfriend with rope, my hands get cut up as well. And I said it with a very straight face, and it took her a couple of seconds, and then she got it. And my company was a lot of fun, and they decided to have an Oscar ceremony. So the first nomination was Best Actor. And the nominees are Paul and Barbara. And the winner is Paul. Well, I'm thinking, what? They're giving the Oscar to Pagicini? What's that all about? I'm the one that works for the company. But no, they weren't done. They said, next category, Best Actress. And the nominees are Paul and Barbara. And the winner is Baaaaahbra Gross. Thank you. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have my own Oscar, and I'm so proud of it. Look at that.
It's the Baaaaahbra Show. It's the Baaaaahbra Show. Coming your way with a smile today. Down the humorous path with a lark and a laugh. It's the Baaaaahbra Show. The